Welcome to Beyond the Old West, where we take you past the myths and into the raw, untold stories of the Wild West. Today, we're diving into the incredible lives of 5 women who didn't just sit on the sidelines, they took matters into their own hands in ways you wouldn't believe. These fearless women didn't wait for permission, and they sure didn't ask for help. From bandit queens to sharpshooters and survivalists, these trailblazing ladies shaped the Wild West in ways that history almost forgot. But before we jump into their jaw-dropping stories, tell us, where are you watching from? And what's the most surprising Wild West fact you've learned so far? Let us know in the comments. We love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new tale of history's fiercest frontier women. Now, let's get started. Top 1. Belle Starr, the bandit queen who ruled the Wild West. Belle Starr, often referred to as the Bandit Queen, wasn't your typical lady of the frontier. She was notorious, powerful, and fearless, an outlaw who commanded respect in a world dominated by men. Born in 1848, Belle's life was a mix of adventure, crime, and rebellion. She wasn't just the partner of some notorious criminals. She was a criminal mastermind in her own right, often leading heists and commanding her own gang. What's most shocking about Belle Starr isn't just her involvement in the lawless world of bandits and robbers, it's how she wielded her power. Despite being a woman in the 1800s, she showed that a lady could lead just as fiercely as any man. She worked with the infamous James Younger gang, robbing banks and riding across the country, leaving a trail of chaos in her wake. But it wasn't just about the money or fame. It was about control. Belle Starr managed her criminal empire with the same level of precision as any of the most feared male outlaws of the time. Belle's story is filled with drama, betrayal, and moments of raw power. Despite multiple arrests and even a brief imprisonment, she was able to maintain her reputation and stay ahead of the law. But it wasn't all easy. Belle's life ended in tragedy when she was shot dead in 1889 under mysterious circumstances. Some say it was due to her criminal activities. Others believe it was personal vengeance. What do you think? Was Belle Starr truly a fearless leader? Or did she push the boundaries of survival in a harsh world? Top 2. Annie Oakley, the sharpshooter who conquered the Wild West. Annie Oakley, a name synonymous with unparalleled sharpshooting, was not just a performer, but a true pioneer who took matters into her own hands in ways that shocked the Wild West. Born Phoebe Ann Moses in 1860, Annie grew up in poverty, but she discovered her extraordinary marksmanship skills at a young age. Little did anyone know, this young girl would go on to become one of the most famous women in Wild West history, proving that a woman could outshoot even the toughest of men. At just 15, Annie Oakley won a shooting contest against Frank Butler, a seasoned sharpshooter who would later become her husband and partner. From there, Annie's career skyrocketed. She joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, where her extraordinary feats, such as shooting a dime in midair, amazed audiences around the world. Annie wasn't just a star, she was the star, known for her accuracy and her courage, breaking gender norms in a male-dominated world. But what's truly shocking about Annie's story is the impact she had. She didn't just perform for the crowds, she redefined what women were capable of, using her fame to fight for women's rights and support causes like World War I. In a time when women were often relegated to the background, Annie Oakley stood at the forefront, showing that strength, skill, and bravery had no gender. Her life was one of continuous defiance, proving that women didn't have to fit into society's expectations to succeed. Would you have the courage to break the boundaries like Annie did? Top 3. Calamity Jane, a woman who outdid the men. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Canary, is one of the most iconic and daring women in Wild West history. But her story isn't just about surviving the frontier. It's about thriving and outdoing the men around her. in a world dominated by men. Her reputation as a sharpshooter, scout, and frontierswoman was built not just on skill, but on a fierce will to prove herself in a world that expected women to be meek and submissive. What's truly jaw-dropping about Calamity Jane is that she didn't just live among men. She often led them. She was known to ride into dangerous territory, alongside or ahead of the men, into Indian raids and rough terrain. She worked as a scout during the Indian Wars, taking on some of the most dangerous jobs and showing bravery that few men could match. But that wasn't all. Calamity Jane also served as a nurse during the same wars, proving that her skills went beyond just fighting and gunplay. What made her stand out even more was her raw, unpolished attitude. Calamity Jane didn't conform to society's expectations of women. She dressed in men's clothes, cursed like a sailor, and drank heavily, refusing to play the role that was assigned to women of her time. In fact, she was often the life of the party, known for being loud, outspoken, and fearless. Despite her often chaotic lifestyle, Calamity Jane left an indelible mark on the Wild West. She wasn't just a woman living in the shadows of the men. She was a force to be reckoned with. She didn't just survive, she conquered. Her story continues to inspire anyone who refuses to be defined by society's expectations. Top 4. Big Nose Kate, surviving with Doc Holliday. Big Nose Kate, born Mary Catherine Haroni, is often overshadowed by the infamous Doc Holliday, but her life is just as remarkable and filled with grit. Kate wasn't just the lover of one of the Wild West's most feared gunslingers. She was a fierce, independent woman who lived through some of the most dangerous and brutal times in American history. Kate's relationship with Doc Holliday is often romanticized, but the reality of their connection was anything but glamorous. Holliday, a skilled gambler and deadly gunfighter, was also battling tuberculosis, a disease that made every day a struggle for survival. While Holliday was known for his ruthlessness, Kate was there by his side through thick and thin, caring for him during his bouts of illness, and even getting involved in some of his dangerous escapades. She wasn't just a passive companion, she was his partner in crime, often getting involved in his activities, despite the risks. Big Nose Kate's resilience in a lawless world was nothing short of impressive. Her tough demeanor and sharp wit helped her navigate a life filled with violence and uncertainty. She survived the chaos of the OK Corral shootout and the rough-and-tumble saloon culture that often defined life in the Wild West. But it wasn't just her connection to Doc Holliday that made her story unforgettable. Kate lived through personal betrayals, loss, and heartbreak, all while maintaining a level of independence and strength that was rare for women at the time. Despite all the hardships, Big Nose Kate's love for Doc never faded, and she spoke of him until her death, showing how deeply their bond ran. In a world where survival was uncertain, Big Nose Kate's story is one of loyalty, survival, and fierce independence. Top 5. Mary Fields, Stagecoach Mary. The strongest woman in the West. Mary Fields, famously known as Stagecoach Mary, was one of the most formidable and unexpected figures in Wild West history. Born into slavery in 1832, Mary earned her freedom after the Civil War and went on to defy every social norm for women and African Americans in the 19th century. At a time when women were expected to remain in the background, Mary became one of the first African American women to work for the U.S. Postal Service. But that wasn't her only claim to fame. Mary was known for driving a stagecoach through the rugged and often dangerous Montana terrain. She carried the U.S. mail between Cascade and the remote mining towns of the West, often braving harsh weather, unpredictable landscapes, and potential threats from outlaws. What made Mary Fields truly remarkable wasn't just her work, but her sheer toughness. She stood 6 feet tall and was known for her strength, resilience, and fiery temper. With a reputation for standing up for herself and her rights, Mary wasn't afraid to take on anyone who crossed her. She carried a gun, and wasn't shy about using it when necessary. In fact, when someone attempted to confront her or stop her from doing her job, Mary was known to act swiftly and decisively, sometimes even getting into physical confrontations to assert her dominance. Mary's boldness and resilience made her a local legend. Despite the odds stacked against her, being a woman, African American, and operating in a male-dominated, often racist society, she made her mark as one of the toughest, most respected individuals of the Wild West. Stagecoach Mary's story is one of true grit and determination, showing that strength comes in all forms, regardless of gender or race. And there you have it. 5 incredible women who took matters into their own hands and defied the expectations of their time in the Wild West. From the indomitable Calamity Jane to the fierce and fearless Stagecoach Mary, these women weren't just surviving, they were thriving. And in some cases, rewriting history itself in the raw and unforgiving reality of Wild West history. Their stories are a testament to the power of resilience, strength, and the unyielding will to carve out a place in a world that often didn't want them there. These women didn't wait for permission. They took action, pushed boundaries, and became legends in their own right. Which of these women do you find the most fascinating? Or do you have your own Wild West heroine you admire? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining us here at Beyond the Old West. Be sure to hit that follow button so you never miss out on another thrilling story from the frontier. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, there's always more to discover beyond the myths of Wild West history.